Josh Kendall covers South Carolina for The Athletic and joins us right now. Josh, good afternoon. How are you?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Through four games, what would you say is the identity of the South Carolina football team?
Well, I think that they're a little more put together than they were last year when they won 4 games all year. They're already halfway to that total. Probably got a couple more out there on the schedule for them. But they're moving in the right direction. Last year, fourth SEC game of the year, they beat number 3 Georgia and then lost 5 of 6 to end the year. This year, fourth SEC game of the season, they beat number 15 Auburn. And I think that there's a legitimate and probably reasonable confidence that they will follow that up a little better. Doesn't mean they'll win this week, but they'll follow that up a little better than they did against Georgia. Having Mike Bobo at offensive coordinator has solidified things. Collin Hill, transfer quarterback from Colorado State, has solidified things. The defense is fine. Right now it's ranked third, I think, in scoring in the SEC, which is good, but I'm not sure it's that good, but it's good enough.
Collin Hill coming in from Colorado State is a move for me that says, hey, this guy's going to keep us in every game. He might not be a world beater. Ryan Helinski's the talented guy, the 5-star guy, but they had a plan bringing in Collin Hill, obviously played for Mike Bobo, to give them a chance in every game. At least that's what it feels like on the outside, Josh.
Yeah, I think that, Ryan's story is well known, and what he has done off the field and the position he's in is really, really admirable. And he's a kid who's really well liked around the community here. But he didn't play well last year. He was thrown into a tough position, and it just didn't go well. So when Collin Hill comes in, a veteran guy, not just a veteran guy, but a veteran in Mike Bobo's system, who knows that offense inside and out, it was a quarterback competition immediately. And you're exactly right. They know exactly what they're going to get from Collin Hill every single play. And that was much more appealing to them than hoping Ryan Helinski was going to be better this year.
Josh Kendall is our guest from The Athletic. Josh, Jaycee Horn was talked about today by Mel Kiper as a guy who's going to be a first-round pick. I was surprised to read the stat, though, that the 2 interceptions that he got last week were the first of his career. Has it been your experience that they just stay away from him so much that there haven't been nearly enough targets for him to bolster that interception total?
Oh, absolutely. Coming into Saturday, he was only targeted eight times in the first 3 games. He's never been targeted. His average targets is three per game, I think, in his first 2 years. He was the best cornerback on this team from his freshman year, and that has, he's only gotten better. I think that this was his last year of college football, but the thing about JC is he's been a pro since the moment he stepped on campus. His dad is Joe Horn, who y'all or listeners are very familiar with. This kid was raised to be a pro football player. He came to South Carolina because he thought this was the best path for him as a cornerback to continue that path, and that's what he's done. I agree, he's a first-round player. He's absolutely elite cornerback.
Josh, I want to talk about the running backs for South Carolina. I think Kevin Harris has been really good as the starter, but Sean Fenwick is a guy that, to me, when I go back and watch the tape, he's got some explosiveness to his game as well. Can you see that becoming more of a 50-50 running back by committee, or do you think Kevin Harris will be the guy, especially coming in this week against LSU?
I think Kevin Harris will be the guy. I think that they feel really good about Kevin Harris. Sean Fenwick did play well, but he's been inconsistent throughout his career. We've seen 100-yard games and then nothing. So his challenge is going to be to follow it up this week in a reserve role, and then do that the next week, and then maybe start chipping more into Kevin Harris's carries. But they really like Kevin Harris, what he brings, 225 pounds, runs really hard. He fits really well in what their idea of they want their run game to be, which is, against Auburn, they averaged 1.1 yards per carry in the first quarter, 2.4 in the second quarter, and then 7.1 in the third. That's exactly what Will Muschamp dreams of when he thinks of the run game. We're just going to be hard-headed about it. We're going to keep running it, and eventually you're going to get tired of tackling this guy who is really hard to tackle.
Josh Kendall is our guest from The Athletic. Josh, you mentioned the scenario last year where they pulled the upset against a top 5 Georgia team, but then went on a run where they lost 5 out of 6. What do you think Will Muschamp will do differently this time to avoid the letdown after a win over a ranked opponent?
I don't know how much he'll do differently versus what this offense and Mike Bobo will do differently. The offense didn't get any better last year. As a matter of fact, it got worse as the year went on. It lost its confidence, and it was just kind of an anchor on the entire team. You could feel it week by week dragging everybody back because they just didn't have any confidence that the offense was going to score any points or get many first downs, and it was just a real mess by the end of the year. So I don't think that will happen. So I don't think Will Muschamp is necessarily going to have to do anything differently. I think the corrections he needed to make, he made sort of in the off season. And don't get me wrong, this is not a team that's gonna roll out there and win 5 of 6. This is still a flawed football team, but their flaws are different than they were last year, more manageable than they were last year. So I think that I expect South Carolina to be competitive against LSU and in most of the rest of their games this year.
Josh, I've been telling our listeners the beginning of this week about Shi Smith, and he's really a game changer, one of the better players in the SEC. Can you kind of give our listeners a thumbnail just on Shi Smith and the player that you see?
Well, little guy, 5'10", 175, 180, but the fastest guy on the team and has been for a long time. Interesting trivia question about Shi Smith is his high school coach was Steve Tannehill, and yes, that is the Steve Tannehill that your older listeners like me will remember as the mulleted quarterback in South Carolina in the early 90s. And Steve is still a guy who's around here and loves Shi, loves his toughness. My question about Shi was, could he step into the number one receiver role? And he really has. He has shown some toughness. He has shown an absolute willingness to run his mouth on the field, and that gets him into the game. I mean, he carried on a running dialogue with the Auburn guys all game long, and he kind of feeds on that. So as long as he can keep that on the right side of the fence, he's going to be really good for South Carolina. I wonder if he's got a flag in his future, but we'll see.
Josh Kendall is our guest from The Athletic. Josh, I want to go back to the Florida game because it seemed like South Carolina was fighting hard in that game, and it just seemed like their own doing that kept them from getting a little bit closer. I don't know if you charted the drops in that game. It seemed like there were a lot, but what do you remember about the Florida game?
I think it was 6 or 7 officially. This wide receiving core outside of Shi Smith is one of the real holes on this team. And one of the things that's going to handicap it and hold it back all year long, frankly. So, yeah, that's South Carolina's got to do all those little things right. They cannot drop passes. They cannot miss his blocking assignments. They've got to do all those things right, or almost all those things right, to give itself a chance in any game. But if it does all those things right, or almost all those things, it has a chance in most games. So, this is life in the middle of the SEC. You can't, you don't get any easy ones. You have to play well every Saturday to be in the game.
Josh, I want to ask you about Myles Brennan potentially being out for this game for LSU. Likelihood that LSU is going to have to start a true freshman, either TJ Finley or Max Johnson. So if you don't really know which quarterback it's going to be, if you're South Carolina, both guys have different skill sets. What do you think they're preparing for?
Well, they've watched high school tape on both of those guys, and they all insist. Doesn't matter to them as LSU runs the same thing no matter what. We're just going to prepare a game plan. That's, almost always nonsense. I think if there's a true freshman quarterback making his first start, they'll come after him. They'll do extra stuff to try to confuse him, whether or not he can run. Depending on which one they go with. South Carolina historically has kind of struggled with mobile quarterbacks. Bo Nix hurt him a lot on third down, getting out of the pocket in the first half last week. I think if you're LSU and you've got to pick between true freshmen and legitimately equal, I'd probably go with the more mobile guy because outside of Jaycee Horn, that secondary has not been very disciplined. If you can get some off rhythm plays, get out of the pocket, get a safety looking in the backfield, and then zip it, throw it down the field to a guy who's 15 yards behind everybody. That's always a possibility with this secondary.
Josh, we appreciate your time. Enjoy the game this weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.